In the heart of Central Africa, a vibrant civilization once flourished. This was the Congo Empire, a powerful and sophisticated kingdom, its markets bustling with life, its people masters of art and governance. But beginning in the 1500s, a long, dark shadow began to creep across this land, a shadow that would stretch across the Atlantic and stain the pages of history forever. From the 1500s to the 1800s, the Atlantic slave trade ravaged the region. Millions of men, women, and children were captured, chained, and sold into a life of brutal bondage. Internal wars, fueled by an insatiable European demand for labor, tore the very fabric of the Congo Empire apart, shattering its foundations and leaving a legacy of pain that echoes to this day. But how did this happen? What dark pacts and tragic choices unleashed this devastation? Our story begins in 1482, with the arrival of Portuguese ships on the Congo coast. Initially, this contact sparked a relationship based on trade and diplomacy. The Congo Kingdom, led by its ruler, the man of Kongo, engaged with the Europeans, exchanging goods and ideas. But this relationship soon soured. By the early 1500s, the demand for enslaved people to work on plantations in the Americas, particularly in Portuguese-controlled Brazil, grew exponentially. The Congo Empire, tragically, became a key supplier in this horrific trade. Captives, often prisoners taken during local conflicts, were sold to European traders. Leaders like Manikongo Afonso I, who initially sought a partnership with Portugal, found himself trapped in a system of exploitation. He wrote desperate letters to the King of Portugal, pleading for an end to the kidnapping of his people. But his pleas fell on deaf ears. The tide of greed was too strong to turn back. A devastating cycle began. European traders offered firearms, textiles, and alcohol in exchange for human lives. These weapons fundamentally altered the balance of power within the empire. Ambitious local chiefs and provincial leaders, armed with European guns, began waging war against their neighbors, not for land or honor, but to capture people to sell. The desire for European goods fueled a constant state of internal conflict. Civil wars erupted between provinces that had once been united under the Manikongo. The very structure of the Congo society began to crumble. The constant warfare depopulated vast areas of the land, as entire villages were raided and their inhabitants carried off in chains. The central authority of the Manikongo, once absolute, was eroded as provincial warlords grew more powerful and independent. The lawlessness and violence became endemic. Trust between communities was shattered, replaced by fear and suspicion. By the 1600s, the slave trade from the Congo region had reached its dreadful peak. The empire was bleeding, weakened from within by the inequality, corruption, and incessant conflict that the trade had spawned. The social and political systems that had sustained the kingdom for centuries were collapsing. This internal weakness made the empire vulnerable to external threats. Neighboring groups, also drawn into the violent vortex of the slave trade, launched invasions, further fragmenting the once mighty state. By the time the 1800s arrived, the Congo Empire was a mere shell of its former self, its power broken, its lands fractured, and its people scattered. From a prosperous, unified kingdom to a collection of warring factions, the decline was catastrophic. It's easy to point the finger solely at European demand, and that demand was undeniably the primary engine of this catastrophe. But the history is more complex. The choices made by some Congo leaders who participated in the trade to gain power or wealth also played a role in their own people's demise. Do lost chronicles and oral traditions hide stories of complicity and betrayal that helped seal the empire's doom? The scars of this era run deep, reshaping the political and cultural landscape of Central Africa in ways that are still felt today. The ghosts of the millions who vanished into the holds of slave ships haunt the memory of the Congo. Their stories, their names, and the full truth of their betrayal remain chained to the past, waiting to be fully understood. In the dark holds of those forgotten ships, What untold betrayals still bind the legacy of the Congo Empire? The story of the Congo is a harrowing reminder of how greed can corrupt relationships and turn allies into exploiters, and how the demand for profit can lead to the destruction of entire civilizations. It's a vital piece of our shared global history that must never be forgotten. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the past. It's a difficult topic, but one we must confront to understand our world today. What are your thoughts on this tragic chapter of history? Please share them respectfully in the comments below. If you found this video informative, please consider liking it and subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into the stories that have shaped our world. We'll see you next time.